Welcome back, Nutcrackers. It's your boy Sir Strickland's here with another one, and today we're doing the most. What? Welcome back, Nutcrackers. It's your boy Sir Strickland's here with another one, and today we're doing the most evil people you've never heard of. If you enjoy this, hit that like button, and everybody, shout out to Justin Berger for go hitting that sub button on the YouTube, and let's get started.
Evil people you've never heard of. They say that if you love what you do, you'll never work a day in your life. A quote that perfectly describes Vasily Blokhin, the deadliest executioner in known human history. Blokhin got his first taste for blood after joining the
Bro's badass. I don't care what anyone says.
Red Army during the events of World War I. Over the years, he became the perfect soldier. One who is able to perform tasks effectively, efficiently, and without hesitation.
So, like, if he was told to go, like, bomb a house with an entire family, he would. Interesting.
This, of course, really accelerated Blokhin's military career, as in 1921, he was recruited into the Soviet secret police organization known
Of course, it's a Russian. Of course.
as the NKVD. One bonus on his extensive resume was his innate ability to remain emotionally numb when carrying out acts of violence. He simply saw it as part of the job, comparative to menial tasks like filing paperwork or having to put up with Deborah from HR's incessant complaints that your funny shirt just isn't work appropriate. Blokhin's unique skill, if you would call it that, quickly distinguished him amongst his peers. If you needed someone dead, Vasily was your guy. His work and unwavering loyalty continued to push him upward and onward. In just 6 years, he was assigned as head of a newly created branch of the NKVD by Mr. Supreme Soviet leader guy Joseph Stalin.
Bro, this guy's badass. I'm not gonna lie. It might have been for the Soviet Union, but like, still.
A branch specifically designed for executions. And with that, Blokhin had become one of Stalin's most trusted workers, executing low and high-profile targets without question.
Excellent work, Blokhin. That goes right up on fridge.
What? Like, you know what? I'm not gonna question it.
During his service, Blokhin had personally executed thousands of people, including high-ranking Soviet officials during the Great Purge, an internal mass execution of anyone remotely accused of opposing Stalin's rule. Blokhin himself had been spared from the purge due to his repeated proofs of loyalty to the Soviet.
What he do to him? Just slimed him out. I don't think he deserved it. Bro, knowing this guy, he probably killed hundreds of people that didn't deserve it. Let's be honest now. But it's okay. It is right after World War One. You are the Soviet Union, and you were one of the strongest militaries in like the world. Who's gonna stop you? In the branch that he's in right now, he's in, like all he's bro, can I speak? His entire job is to get told, hey, go kill this person, and he does it. Like, that's his entire job for the Soviet Union. That's why he's labeled the most dangerous people, like one of the most dangerous people in the Soviet Union. I think. Something like that.
Cause. His magnum opus being his involvement in the Katyn massacre. Now, if you've never heard of the Katyn massacre, I wouldn't be surprised. When teaching about World War II, history classes tend to focus on German war
World War II, my bad.
atrocities and kind of skim over all of the other ones, especially the Soviet Union's. Despite the German invasion of Poland in 1939 and World War II officially starting, the Allied powers of Great Britain and France didn't really do much in retaliation.
Oh, Germany, you better leave Poland alone.
Okay.
Oh, fair point. Carry on. The big bad Soviet Union had also invaded Poland just a few weeks later,
He's getting gangbanged.
capturing hundreds of thousands of Polish prisoners of war, many of which were sent to labor camps. But in the spring of 1940, around 22,000 prisoners consisting of Polish officers, engineers, teachers, and other civilians were systematically executed under Blokhin's supervision.
So technically he killed 22 22,000 Polish prisoners. Like, the amount of trauma you would have from that. But knowing this guy, he was probably like, well, yeah, I did it. Do I regret it? No. They paid me enough. Like, I don't know. But 22,000 innocent lives? It's crazy. Like, oh yeah, he would. 100%. Good thing this is World War II, not present times. Okay, that's crazy to think about. Like, our generation, if we were put in World War II, we would have probably lost, if I'm being honest. Like, there would be no, there's no 18-year-olds probably now that would be able to actually kill somebody. But it sounds a little mean here, but like, there's a lot of gay people too, and like most of them are like one of these. Just send O Block and we chillin'. I forgot about the YNs. I ain't gonna lie. The YNs would win World War II for us. I ain't gonna lie. Yeah, the YNs got us. The YNs got us. Just send all of Bronx, and we chillin'. Just in the Bronx.
With Blokhin himself having personally executed over.
Send out baby Kia. We serious right now, my brother? We serious?
7,000 people in just 28 days. Now think about that for a second. 7,000 people in 28 days. That's 250 people a day. Now, Blokhin and his men reportedly would work 10-hour days nonstop, so that's 25 people an hour.
So they were just like, go! Like just spraying them down.
One person every 2 to 3 minutes. Now, these weren't indirectly through ordering his men, but this was by his own hand. Blokhin had pretty much developed an assembly line of death so efficient it would make Henry Ford envious. Prisoners would be escorted into a soundproofed room against a sandbag.
Also, when I'm talking, is the video way louder than my mic?
Ford envious. Prisoners would be escorted into a soundproof.
Wait, sorry.
By his own
Hey,
hand. Blokhin had
that's
pretty much
crazy.
developed an assembly line of
Okay, no, it's just fine. Okay. I should have checked. Sorry, guys.
death so efficient it would make Henry Ford envious. Prisoners would be escorted into a soundproofed room against a sandbag-lined wall. Without a word, these prisoners' last sensation would be feeling the muzzle of a German pistol in the back of their neck before being brutally murdered. Wait, a German?
Okay, like personally, I'm scared to death. I'm not ready to die. So like, if I was in this situation, I think I would like honestly try, because like anyways, I know I'm gonna die. And I'm scared of death. So like here, I'm gonna stand up real quick. I can't take this. But I can stand up a little bit. Okay, here, wait, let me break the camera up real quick. Okay. So if he got a gun back here, like personally, like I know I'm probably gonna die. There's like 40 different other ones. But like I'm gonna try like grabbing that hoe. Like grab that hoe and like start shooting the 9 back at him. Like personally, I'm not just gonna let him shoot me. Unless my hands are tied behind my back. There's nothing I really can do. I could try running, but they probably just shoot me in the back and let me bleed out to death. Yeah, I'd really just get shot in the back of the head. I ain't gonna lie. But yeah, like I'm just not gonna just let you execute me. It don't work like that. Not around here, bro. I'm just not gonna let you execute me.
Pistol? I hear you ask. Why would Soviets be using German pistols?
Because they were allies.
Words. Plausible deniability. Think of it this way. If thousands of victims in
I was wrong.
mass graves happen to be found with German bullets lodged in their noggins, who do you think's going to be blamed?
The
Well, look at
Germans.
us. It was them. Blokhin's massacre is regarded as the largest mass murder conducted by a single person in known human history, even acknowledged by the coveted Guinness Book of World Records in 2010. Really.
They put that in the Guinness Book of World Records. They put a mass killing in the Guinness Book of World Records. That's shame on them. Shame on them.
Stretching for content there. It is believed that throughout his career, Blokhin's personal kill count had reached tens of thousands, but his spree would soon come to an end. After Stalin privately passed away in a puddle of piss in 1953, Blokhin was forced into retirement in disgrace. He was also in 1953. Blokhin was forced.
You're telling me this guy? Nah, he has that 1,000-yard stare. Yeah, he for sure killed thousands of people.
Into retirement in disgrace. He was ostracized by the public and stripped of his military honors during the de-Stalinization of the Soviet Union. So, of course, he did what any Russian does when they're sad or happy or breathing.
Drink
vodka. A lot of
vodka.
alcohol. A habit that eventually led to his death in 1955 at the age of 60. Well, dang, that's pretty
67. Sorry.
evil. Sure hope nothing bad like that happens to me. Hey, it's ad time. Welcome. After the thrilling events of World War I. Right after the thrilling events of World War I in 1918, the Austro-Hungarian Empire had collapsed. With a little bit of elbow grease and the mashing together of various kingdoms and regions, a new political entity was formed. The state of Slovenes, Croats, and Serbs. Home to many Slovenes, Croats, and Serbs. One of those kingdoms thrown in the mix was Croatia, the birthplace of this stern jug of juice, Ante Pavelic.
Daddy.
His main personality trait was loving Croatia. God, he loved Croatia. So much so that he made a name for himself and rose through the ranks as a politician and representative in state parliament in order to demand Croatian independence. But this guy, Alexander I, had other ideas. Who's he? Well, he's the Prince Regent in these parts and the one who just got done unifying all of these kingdoms and states.
Why are they making it look retarded?
Years and years of political turmoil ensued, which is honestly to be expected when you force a bunch of different political regions together into singularity. In 1929, now King Alexander had hit a boiling point.
King Alexander the First, to be exact. Okay, I remember I was in history class one time, and we were learning about Peter the Great, and I put on the test Peter the First because he was the first Peter. And she counted me wrong. Because I didn't put Peter the Great. But he was also called Peter the First. Because there was a Peter the Second. And Loki pissed me off, I ain't gonna lie. I walked up to her. Dang, it's the second reaction video. I'm throwing shade at my teachers, but it doesn't matter. I love her though. But like, I walked up to her, I was like, hey, isn't he also Peter the First? And she was like, well, yes, but I wanted you to put Peter the Great. So I was like, you could at least give me half credit. And she was like, well, I just, on the study guide. I was like, I didn't study on the study guide. I have my notes. Well, I don't really take notes if I'm going to be honest. This is me in history class. I sit in the front, by the way. But yeah, she took off a point, but then I talked to her to give me a point, and she gave me that point, and I might have gave her a little tip, if you know what I'm saying.
In order to...
I'm joking, by the way. I'm joking.
Regain order, he dismantled and banned all political parties, declaring a royal dictatorship. He even came up with
So an absolute monarchy.
the new name for his kingdom, Yugoslavia. Yugoslavia. But since Yugoslavia is not Croatia, Pavelic had it. He fled the kingdom and conspired with revolutionary groups to undermine the rule of Yugoslavia, who responded, do you want a death sentence? Cause that's how you get a death sentence. And so Pavelic got a death sentence. He was exiled to Germany, but since he didn't feel like dying quite yet, he instead skedaddled off to seek asylum in Italy.
Mamma mia.
There, he used his political influence and persuasive stern look to form the Ustasha, a Croatian nationalist movement aimed at achieving Croatian independence.
He just got exiled. He has a death sentence on him. He's just exiled. And right now, he's with Italy.
By any means necessary. And you can bet your fat tits that means bombings, assassinations, and uprisings. During said uprisings, King Alexander regrettably stated, if you want a regime change, you need to kill me. They did. On October 9th, 1934,
Kurt Cobain!
King Alexander I was assassinated by Ustasha member Vlado Chernozemski using a handgun hidden in a bouquet of flowers.
Imagine it was that easy to escape in our time. Where you're just exiled? See, but if we exiled a serial killer, see, he got a death wish on him because he was going up against the king. And the king was going for absolute monarchy. If y'all don't know what that means, where the king has all the control. That's back where ancient England used to have. Or Britain. Not ancient. Pre-American Revolution. Britain. They had an absolute monarchy. It was Henry the... It was one of the Henrys. I think it was the 8th. He attacked their, like, what is it called? Parliament. He attacked Parliament with an axe. And then but Parliament got back control, and now to this day Parliament is who rules Britain. So I don't know. I don't know where I spin off. Let's just start the video again. I'm sorry. I'm yapping. I am yapping.
Still living in Italy, Pavlich, along with several accomplices, were determined to be culpable for the assassination and were sentenced to death by Yugoslavia's friend France, who pressured Italy to carry out the deed. And Italy was all, linguini fettuccini, we ask a Mussolini. Thanks to his political privilege.
By the way, I love pasta. Pasta is one of my favorite foods. I would love to go to Italy and have like an actual good spaghetti. Like a native spaghetti. I think I genuinely bust everywhere. I'm talking Johnny sends loads. Tacos are better. Tacos are really good. Taco Bell, okay. Taco Bell in general is just really good. But I'm yapping again.
Pavlich was only put under house arrest for 18 months. That'll teach him.
House arrest for assassinating somebody? What?
Right, France? Oh, here we go. Looks like Germany's back at it again.
9!
And the world collectively Versailles in disappointment. After the invasion of France in 1940, Nazi Germany invaded Yugoslavia in 1941. This ultimately resulted in Pavlich being installed as dictator to a newly independent
dictator.
Croatia. The main mustache himself even met with Pavlich and gave some pointers in the art of ethnic cleansing.
Wasn't Hitler on like cocaine and like methamphetamines or something like that? I believe so.
The only art he ever saw any success in. But Pavlich would soon put this advice into action. During World War II, Pavlich had created his own network of concentration camps run by his beloved Ustasha, one of which being the Sisak concentration.
I don't know, but somebody gave him power-ups. You know what's crazy? If Hitler would have been accepted into art school, World War II would have never happened. He was also a soldier in World War One, so if he was killed in World War One, he would have also died then. Bro, we had 2 chances to stop, bro, and we didn't stop, bro. Like, come on now.
Camp, the only known camp specifically designed for children. These camps carried out the collection and mass murder of nearly 400,000 Serbs, Jews, and Romani, with an additional 300,000 either exiled or forcibly converted to Eastern Orthodox Christianity, all for the sake of Croatian ethnic homogeneity. Towns were completely ransacked, villages were outright destroyed, and hundreds of thousands of innocent lives were lost. These actions gave the Ustasha notoriety that struck fear into the hearts of anyone who dared cross their path. Nazi Army General Edmund Gleiser-Hochtenau witnessed firsthand the atrocity of
Crazy
Pavlich and the
name.
Ustasha, saying, quote, "Our troops have to be mute witnesses of such events. It does not reflect well on their otherwise high reputation. The Ustasha have gone raging mad." That's pretty telling when even a Nazi general thinks you're being a bad dude. After the Axis powers fell, Pavlich got the hell out of Dodge, eventually fleeing to Argentina in 1948. But then some other surviving Ustasha members arrived. After a quick reunion of high fives and smooches, the gang wasted no time in
I wouldn't mind some smooches.
forming the Croatian Liberation Movement. Persistent little buggers, weren't
That's
they?
a thick
They were
mustache.
basically trying to control this from over here. It didn't work. After an assassination attempt in 1957, Pavlich hightailed it out of Argentina, eventually ending up in Spain, where he died of his injuries 2 years later.
It took 2 years for the assassination attempt to work. So technically he completed his job, but probably died in the process, not knowing he did his job.
This is Idi Amin, regarded as one of the cruelest dictators in Ugandan history. He had humble beginnings back in 1946, where he
Chick-fil-A worker?
served in the colonial army as a cook's assistant. In addition to cooking up a good steak, Amin was raring to have a job well done in his military career, so he speed ran through promotions within the Ugandan army, making it all the way up to captain in 1962.
I'm the captain now.
All of this impressive progress received recognition from Ugandan Prime Minister Milton Obote, and a friendship formed. Hey, hi. One that would be fruitful in many shady activities, including ivory and gold smuggling. After being threatened with
Ooh.
investigation by the Ugandan parliament, Obote overthrew King President Person Mutesa II and seized the position for himself.
I'm surprised bro actually pronounced that name that well. This would be me. It sounds like I'm beatboxing if I try pronouncing that.
In 1966. The ex-king was exiled to the UK, where he lamented over the loss of his country, ultimately drinking himself to death just 3 years later.
Poor little guy.
After the coup, Obote promoted a now more rotund Amin to commander of the Ugandan army. But all good times must come to an end. Obote himself was a terrible ruler. His regime was plagued with corruption and terror, resulting in nationwide starvation and cruelties toward the Ugandan people. Not surprisingly, Obote had experienced a failed assassination attempt where he was shot through the teeth and out his cheek. The assassin missed, and Obote is pissed, so in response he had any and all political parties banned, with their members jailed for life.
So another absolute monarchy.
Meanwhile, Amin was in the corner doing his own thing, building up his beloved military for less than necessary fighting in neighboring wars. Obote didn't like that, and Amin didn't like that Obote didn't like that, so they began not liking each other. As a personal bitch slap, Obote had stripped Amin of his freshly granted commanding privileges and threatened him with jail time for misappropriating military funds. But this only activated Amin's trap card, prompting a takeover of the Ugandan government while Obote was out and about doing president things. The Ugandan people, having just gone through years of suffering under Obote's regime, were pretty thrilled and cheered Amin's efforts. Now in control in 1971, Amin declared that the military would temporarily run the government until new elections could be run. He even
Smart.
promised to free all political prisoners. But he never did. In reality, he flew too close to the sun, taking comfort in its warmth. Just a week later, Amin declared himself President of Uganda, Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, Ugandan Army.
I'm pre-firing it real quick. I'm gonna say he had too much on his plate and killed himself.
Chief of Staff, and Chief of Air Staff.
Or everybody in Uganda.
The ego's starting to take over a bit. With this uncontested power, Amin began systematic executions of anyone who, he believed, would oppose his rule. Roughly 15,000 civilians had disappeared, now believed to have been kidnapped and given front row tickets to Amin's newly constructed state-of-the-art torture facility. However, this failed to slake Amin's thirst for blood. He soon expanded his list of victims to various groups.
Wait. You think these were originally white?
Throughout the country. We're talking artists, journalists, lawyers, students, senior members of government, foreign nationals, anyone who had even the most infinitesimally small tie to Obote. There were even rumors of Amin being a cannibal, or at least having tasted human meat, though it seems like he rated it 1 star as it was, quote, too salty for him. Human rights organizations estimate that between 300,000 to
He looks like he used to eating a lot of stuff. That's all I'm saying.
500,000 people were slain under Amin's tyrannical rule. Known as the Butcher of Africa, Idi Amin not only murdered his own people, but devastated the Ugandan economy as well. He had expelled around 80,000 business owners and seized their property. So Amin walked up to an African stand and he said to the man running the stand, "Hey, bump, 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 get out of here or I'll kill you." Then he waddled away, waddle, waddle. These businesses, which were basically the country's economic backbone, were handed off to his inner circle, and they all quickly went bankrupt from mismanagement. Edie? More like idiot. Anyway, the businesses accounted for about 90% of the government's tax revenue, so
That's
government
crazy.
funds went poof. Yeah, just like that.
So, bro killed 500,000 people, caused their economy to crash, causing him to be one of the worst rulers in all of Uganda.
Amin became blinded with power, so much so that he was unable to see the inevitable brick wall that the country was heading towards. His closest cabinet members, realizing that murdering everyone and crippling an economy aren't really the best long-term policies, started to defect, abandoning Uganda.
This reminds me of the Russian ruler that's nickname was the Sun God. If you go look him up, he caused Russia to become bankrupt because he built a very beautiful palace. I'm being dead serious too. He spent like billions of dollars on one palace. It's beautiful, don't get me wrong, but he like destroyed the entire economy of Russia.
To seek safety elsewhere. Amin even began losing control over his own military. Coups and mutinies were commonplace as officers fought for power. But he had a plan. I have a plan. We're gonna take Tanzania. Alley-oop. He's just not as funny as oversimplified. Uh-oh. Tanzania fought back hard. In order to save face, the former 10-time Ugandan light heavyweight
He needs to go to Turkey and fix that bum-ass hairline.
champion Amin had a plan. I have a plan. Yeah, Amin actually suggested a boots to asses 1v1 super slam, but the Tanzanian president had a plan of his own. In the end, Amin was deposed and fled in exile, where he apparently ate up to 40 oranges a day until his death in 2003.
He died of oranges. This man killed 500,000 people, bankrupted Uganda, and tried taking over a different part of Africa, and died because of oranges. Luis Gravita.
Our last stop is definitely no picnic. Now, if this video wasn't
I love picnics, guys. I'm a big bag. Anything that involves food, I would enjoy. He sounds scary until the orange part. Yeah. Like, how are you gonna die to oranges, bro? Like, on his thingy. What was his name? Indy something? Indy. Death. Oranges. Like, bro died because of that right there.
satisfying enough,
What came first, the fruit or the color?
I do have more
It was the fruit.
of these little evil bastards for another video. So if you want me to make it, let me know in the comments. While you're at it,
Slimy Steve. Was it Touchy Todd? Slimy Steve's just hilarious, though.
let me know who you would want me to cover. For our last entry, we'll be taking a trip down to Colombia. Now, any of you Colombians out there might be familiar with this guy, but for those of us who don't put cheese in our hot chocolate, let me introduce you to Luis Garavito, perhaps one of the most prolific
was
serial
close, I was
killers
close.
in modern history.
Oh.
This guy was a straight-up monster. Appropriately nicknamed La Bestia, or The Beast, Garavito was arrested in 1999 and convicted of murdering 193 children.
Oh, God. Oh, God. I hope he was sentenced to firing squad with no final meal.
Garavito's crimes began when he was just 15 in 1972. He had reported
He started when he was 15. Wait, did he start killing people at 15? Because if he did, that's actually crazy. How was he not found? El Columbia Police Department.
reportedly suffered severe depression, psychosis, and paranoia, allegedly stemming from
So we're the same age. I'm currently live streaming and he was killing people. Weird lives.
An extremely abusive and traumatic childhood at the hand of his father. Pairing all that mental anguish with
But he got some big ears. We can tell whoever he was sitting in front of, he took all of what the teacher was saying. It's okay, he's just gonna get house arrest. Bro, on me, bro. It was so long ago, he probably did just get house arrest. I'm just playing. I hope he did. I hope he got his butthole touched in prison. What? Who said that?
crippling alcoholism and an aggressive personality, Garavito began compulsively forcing
Bro for sure tried going Super Saiyan once.
himself on young children.
His powers over
Disgusted by his
9,000.
own actions, he had attempted to seek help,
Virginia. Playing with little boys in spandex, I see.
attending church
Only certain people will get the reference.
sermons, AA meetings, and even seeing psychiatrists, wanting nothing more than to live a normal, happy life. But he was never able to claw himself out of the dark hole that he was in. Look, there's no denying that childhood trauma is tragic, but when you commit unspeakable acts of violence against innocent children, or really anyone for that matter, sympathy kind of goes out the window. Being a victim's one thing, creating victims is another. Moving into the 80s, Garavito's habits had only escalated. He emphasized that his urges to act out were constant and, according to him, uncontrollable. He would impulsively assault homeless children, and to make matters worse, began carrying razor blades and lighters to satiate his growing lust for violence.
So he was torturing homeless children? I hope the worst for him.
After each outburst and eventually regaining his composure, Garavito claimed that he would be overwhelmed with guilt. He would write down the names of his victims in a notebook and pray for their safety. At this point, his victim count had
So he would hurt them and then pray for them?
crossed above 100. Devastated by his supposedly uncontrollable impulses, he desperately tried to find any answers as to why he was the way he was. He looked to religion, astrology, the occult, really anything that could potentially bring him some revelation. But during this little literary leap, he had stumbled upon a certain notorious autobiography.
That says Adolf Hitler.
With each turn of the page, Garavito really started relating to this Adolf guy. I mean, they both suffered abusive childhoods, lived in poverty, are both complete dickholes, you know, that kind of stuff. Luis even went a bit further and began idolizing one Campo Delgado, a Colombian serial killer who had publicly murdered 28 people, including his own mother, in the 1980s. More specifically, he admired...
See, I'm not close with my mother, but I would never murder my mother. Like, murdering a family member is beyond crazy.
The national attention that Delgado received and wanted to experience that firsthand. Now, the 1990s is where Garavito really went off the rails. He was now apathetic in his crimes. He felt nothing. No remorse, no sorrow, nothing. With all emotional ties cut, Garavito's actions hit an apex. Across this decade, Luis committed the mass murder and assault of hundreds of children. In disguise, he lured victims into secluded areas in broad daylight where they were assaulted, stabbed, cut, burned, beaten, eviscerated, and dismembered. After their passing, the victims...
What does eviscerated mean? I'm scared.
were often placed in dozens of mass graves scattered across the countryside, with some containing as many as 40 bodies. Now, you can't really hide violence of that caliber for long, so eventually the graves were discovered in 1998 and an official investigation was launched. Because of his continued alcoholism, Garavito's work was sloppy. He would often leave articles of clothing, empty liquor bottles, and various belongings at his crime scenes. Honestly, it's kind of weird that it took so long to get caught, but the mountains of evidence did eventually lead to his arrest in 1999. While being interrogated, Garavito confessed to the murder of hundreds of children. Now, of course, in order to prevent the large, sandpapery, unlubed fist of YouTube from giving my butthole an identical neighbor, I of course cannot go into the nitty-gritty of the crimes. You morbidly curious little deviants would have to look that up for yourselves.
Do we look it up? Do we look it up? We'll look it up after the video. We might.
Garavito's crimes rightfully warranted a sentence of up to 1,853 years.
Plus the 9 days, guys. Plus the 9 days.
9 days in prison. That's pretty great. except for the fact that Colombian law at the time prevented any sentence from being longer than 40 years. And get this, since he had given a full confession
Are they saying they let him out?
and even helped investigators find the bodies, his sentence was further reduced down to just 22 years.
This guy killed hundreds of children, and his sentence was only 22 years. Please tell me somebody killed him in prison.
And the Colombian population was pissed. But luckily, in 2021, Garavito's parole was personally denied by the Colombian president, who vowed that he would never be a free man again. And he never was. Luis Garavito was diagnosed with eye cancer and died in prison in 2023.
Bro was alive 3 years ago. That's weird saying that.
That video was a real doozy, wasn't it? Looks like you need to clean your mind of all this negativity. So go ahead
Holy.
and click the link below to play.
Okay, we're not gonna let him do that, but guys, go check out chat history for. I'm gonna drop him a follow and a like. But whoa, that was crazy, especially that last one. I hope he drops the soap. Well, he dropped the soap and got some in his eye. But if y'all enjoyed this, hit that like button and that subscribe button. Anyways, guys, I love y'all nutcrackers. See y'all on the next one.